Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this great email that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, he is 31 years old, and he's going to share his story about events that happened about 5 or 6 years ago with his now ex-girlfriend. His ex-girlfriend, a gal by the name of Kim, and she is 31 years old as well. And you're going to see in this story, guys, how his ex completely dropped him like a bad habit, kicked him to the curb, broke his heart at the worst moment in his life. And unlike a lot of guys, this guy, he handles it really well. He, instead of just wallows in his misery and doesn't go anywhere, falls into a dark hole, this guy makes a massive comeback on multiple fronts. And ever since then, he's been kicking butt and taking names. And fast forward to the future, present day, take a wild guess who he runs into. And take a wild guess whose life is not going so well nowadays. And also take a guess who wants him back. And it's a great story about a guy who, like many of you, been dumped, hurt, all that, but definitely has the last laugh. And it ends with him asking me a question about his current situation, my advice on how to handle this chick, etc., etc. So it's a great one to show you guys that you can turn things around, embrace your inner masculine guy that's dying to come out, make a lot of mistakes and learn from him. Because you're going to see he makes a lot of classic mistakes. He put her on a pedestal, shocker, treated her like she was the center of his universe, all these things. And of course, she lost respect from treating him like crap. But a lot of lessons here. The lessons about just what I said, about treating her too well, making her the center of the universe, the pedestal, how it's a mistake. Two, how they always come back. Always, when they think they can do better, they always come back because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And third, how when a woman develops a certain perception of you, when you've been that nice guy too long, it's darn near impossible to shake that. And that's why they come back years later and think that, hey, they can get you, even if they treat you like garbage because they think you're that weak, or also they're that narcissistic and think they're that amazing, when in reality, no, they're not. So sit back. This is a good one for a Saturday, beautiful spring day here. I hope it's a beautiful spring day where you are, and you'll definitely enjoy this story. He says, hey, SSM. I just want to post here to get a little advice and reassurance for the current annoyance I'm working on getting through. I'm 32 years old, and I had a college girlfriend, a 31-year-old female Kim, that I thought was the world. What'd I tell you? I checked off every block on the Simp Handbook. I put her on a pedestal, paid for all her expenses, got her flowers all the time, stuff that makes me feel like screaming, like that one no scene in the Punisher series, if you know what I mean. Actually, I don't know, but I've heard the Punisher series is pretty good. So right there in the first paragraph, put her on the pedestal, made her my world, put her on the pedestal, paid all her expenses, bought her flowers all the time. Yeah, smack, almost forgot. What was she doing to deserve all that? The flowers all the time, making her whole world, paying for everything. That's nice guy behavior. You know, it's one thing if she is reciprocating, she's treating you amazing, what you want is important to her, loyal, supportive, she takes care of herself, she's great in the sack, enthusiastic about being with you, then it's okay to occasionally give her a rose or some flowers, occasionally, you know, because girls like that bullshit. Or, you know, sometimes you pay for things, sometimes she pays for things. You should never be paying a gal all her expenses. That just communicates to a woman, guys, that I'm not good enough as I am. I don't think highly of myself, so I have to bribe you to be with me. That's going to turn off anybody, amongst many other things. But also, she's an a-hole, as you're about to see. Anyway, she left me right after I failed my exams to get in my master's program. There you go. The second you weren't going anywhere that she thought you were, she dropped you like a bad habit to find somebody else. Real nice of her. She told me that she always intended to leave me and that she thought that I would never be good enough for someone like her. Someone like her? Who's she? I don't care if she has a pretty face or a nice ass or a great rack. So what? You got a whole world full of women like that, dime a dozen. Someone like me, and obviously she hasn't made anything of herself at that early age unless she has money from family, and it's because they did something with themselves. She also said that she wanted to try opening our relationship, but when I failed out of my exams, she would rather just leave than deal with me anymore. God, she's heartless. And I want you to remember all these things she's saying about how amazing she is and how she obviously thinks he's garbage when we get to the future where the story's going. She started crying and said being with me was a mistake and left me crumbling to myself. Whew. I'm sorry I went through that, man. There are many of us, including me, that have been broken up with when I was younger, one time really, really bad. And it felt like your heart was ripped out and stomped by a mule. But you know what? You can either fall into a dark hole and stay there, or you can use that horrible experience to harden yourself, learn, and move on and become even stronger and let success be the best revenge. Now watch this. I spent the next few months sending messages asking her to make it work, and it was pretty depressing. Smack! You don't chase after someone who dumps you like that, tells you pretty much you're garbage and she's amazing, and try to get her. Why do you want someone like that? But I know. I've been there. I know the pain, and you're not thinking straight. I gained a few pounds and started to feel gross in public. I started work at a dead-end job. Nothing bad, but definitely not the place to make a career at all. I spent the next 6 months going to work out and going to the gym. Good. So initially, dark hole, feeling sorry for himself, gaining weight, but now he's turning things around. I joined the U.S. Army Reserves and left for basic training and Army officer school, as I might as well use my degree for something. After going through some grueling training, I came back a somewhat changed man. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And thank you for your service. That training forced me to face some of my more weak tendencies and overcome them otherwise. Otherwise, I would have crumbled. I returned to my state and kept grinding, eventually getting into my master's program and even attending a few exercises in Japan and Korea for the reserves that were really mind-expanding in the sense of experiencing other cultures. Bro, that's awesome. And you know what? If you stayed with her, you never would have done any of that. You never would have become the man that you were meant to be. This is fantastic. Guys, we all go through hardships, okay? Shit happens. We get divorces, we get broken up, we get cheated on, all that type of stuff, amongst many other things. And we can either let it crush us permanently, because we can all have a few weeks when we're feeling like dog shit, I get it, or we can turn things around and say, I'm not going to let this determine my life, and often use that bad experience to give us the fuel to keep pushing forward. Say, fuck you. I'll show you the mistake you made by breaking up with me, and eventually become indifferent and don't care either way. I settled down, and now I have a wonderful girlfriend who accepts me for who I am. Luna, a 27-year-old female, is a conservative Christian woman who comes from a good Asian family. She has helped me get over many of my personal issues and is always open to accommodating my needs. Hear that? Accommodating his needs. Traditional, conservative, all that, awesome, good. But I hope, and I'm sure you have, learned from your mistakes in the past, and you're not put Luna on the pedestal and kissing her butt and giving her flowers every day, and you get the point. Paying for all her shit, no. Now on to the issue at hand. I was getting coffee at my local coffee shop when someone tapped my shoulder in line. Oh gee, who could that be? I looked behind me, and there was my ex-girlfriend Kim with a big smile on her face. This the same girl that basically said you're dog shit and she wasted her life being with you, and now she's got a big smile on her face? She tried to give me a hug, but I stiff-armed her and said, sorry, not really a big hugger. She looked a little disappointed and said she was surprised to see me because I don't post much on my social media, and she thought I was abroad on some exercise or vacation. So someone's been stalking you on social media. I'll tell you, time seemed to slow down either from me being annoyed or shocked from seeing her after almost 5 years gone by. I looked at her and was surprised to see how quickly she had aged. Well, what's the saying? Men can age like Sean Connery and women age like Sean Connery. She used to have these cute lines near her eyes, but now they look like crow's feet. Her size hasn't changed much, but she looked tired and didn't have that athletic feel she used to have about her. Well, she's now in her early 30s. And don't get me wrong, you can have some fucking hotties in their 30s and 40s. However, for their age, they look damn good, but still the prime is the girl in her 20s. Then I noticed the wedding ring, and that is when the world came back into perspective. There was a doughy-looking guy behind her fidgeting on his phone. Well, the nice guy she settled for, huh? The dude must have been at least 50 to 60 pounds heavier than me, and not in a muscular way, but in a put-down-the-fork type of way. So he's got a fast food physique. His eyes made contact with me, and he seemed to recognize me and quickly said, hey, what's up? Before looking back at his phone. By now, I got to the cashier and didn't want to have a conversation with my ex, so I got a pre-made drink from the cooler and quickly left. 5 years, just like that. As I walked away, she said my name, but I just raised my hand in a bye gesture and left the cafe. By the time I got to the car, I was starting to get mad. Not because of the feelings I had in the past, but because I had let her ruin my good mood for the day. She reminded me how I let someone take advantage of my love and affection, how weak I used to be. Yeah, nobody likes to be reminded of a bad period in their life when they were weaker or made mistakes or anything like that. But you know what? Occasionally, it's not a bad idea to remember some of those things just to remind you why you've worked so hard to get where you are, to keep yourself from making the mistakes in the past. One look at her can remind you, shit, I'm not going to do that same bullshit I did with my current girlfriend like I used to do, etc., etc. I coasted throughout the rest of my workday and went for an evening gym session. My girlfriend was helping her father with his planting hobby, so she was going to be there for a few hours and suggested I had to come have some beers with my friends before dropping her off. I called my boys Lee and James, who happen to be brothers, over to meet me at the local brewery. Lee could tell something was off with my mood, and after some prodding, he got me to mention how I bumped into my ex, Kim. Yeah, this is a good conversation to have with some bros with some beers. Now, listen to this, some revelations that his bros bring up about his ex. He suddenly had the biggest smile on his face and looked at James and said, "Should I share the story?" James rolled his eyes and told him he would tell it because Lee has always loved to exaggerate the story. James goes on to tell me that their cousin Mark is dating Kim's younger cousin Rosie in college. Okay, buddy's here, and his cousin Mark is dating his ex's cousin. Okay. Apparently, Kim is like sisters with her younger cousin, and she tells her everything. And occasionally, Rosie will share some of the gossip with Mark, who told his cousins after finding out about how Kim and I used to date. Okay, lots of names there, but the bottom line is this dude's ex's younger cousin is dating one of these guys' cousins, and since girls can't keep fucking secrets, gossiping and all that, it got back to them about what we're about to hear. James insisted on keeping this out of my know about it because he didn't want me to have anything to do with Kim. But now that she knows I'm back in town, both he and Lee think it's best that I know. Gee, what could be going on with good old Kim? James let me know that apparently Kim is quite the drama queen blabbermouth and can't keep her mouth shut. Shocker. She told Rosie all about her past love life and her regrets in her marriage. Trouble in paradise? After breaking up with me, she dated several guys, but no one could ever make her happy. There are guys around the world laughing at that right now, particularly relationship guys that have been there. Generally speaking, you can't make them happy. There's always going to be something that they're not happy about, okay? Occasionally there's some rare ones, but good Lord. She eventually became a born-again Christian, and the church convinced her a man of Christ could give her the life she always wanted. Yeah, I'm not quite buying that. One, her being born again and being a different person, and two, that finding as if they want to say a man of Christ is going to make her happy. Sure. Coincidentally, the pastor's godson had been unmarried and was single, so all the women in the church pushed her to start a relationship with him. She got swept up in the moment, and within 2 years, she was married. Dumbass. What's probably going on is she was getting closer and closer to the big 3-0, realized, oh shit, clock's ticking here, I gotta find some sucker to marry my dumbass. Lee interrupts to give me the details in a condescending way he does to emphasize how funny this is to him. Apparently, Kim's husband is a man-child, always surrounded by girls because he was always a safe bet to be around because no one saw him as a man. He mentioned that Rosie thinks of him as a teddy bear. He didn't have a college degree, and Kim was paying for most of the rent because he liked to work only part-time so he could play video games and play in the church worship band. And not to mention he's 50 to 60 pounds overweight. He is a fucking man-child. So, this is the same girl, let's remember guys, in the first paragraph, who kicked this guy to the curb because she thought that he basically wasn't good enough for her, and she obviously wanted something better, and this is what she got. The guy that works part-time so he can have extra time to play video games and go play guitar in the band, and is obviously overweight and all that. What a real winner here. Now, I got no problem. People want to have their fun things on the side, play guitar, play in a band, cool. or even play some video games on occasion. But where's this guy's grind? Part-time? Unless he's finding a way to make a hell of a good income part-time, then obviously this guy needs to get off his ass and put down the fucking cheeseburger. But this is what she deserves. Kim isn't happy with her marriage, shocker, and has more than once mentioned me to Rosie as a what-if scenario. Rosie follows Lee and James on their social media, and whenever she mentions I am the one in one of the photos, Kim immediately starts snooping herself to see what we are up to. Lee told me that Rosie let him know that more than once on a drunken night, Kim has told her that she misses me, but the next day swears to her secrecy as her husband could get jealous. Ah, now she wants you back. Remember 5 years ago that you were dog shit to her. Now she wants you back. But why in God's green earth would you ever take her back? You're kicking ass and taking names. You got a girl that treats you great, that it sounds like you have a very good thing with. Cool. Just don't make your mistakes that you did in the past. And she looks like, she looks older, not nearly as good. And she's a piece of shit. So why would you ever take her back? After they finish speaking with my friends look at me. Lee is the outgoing, fun older brother, while James is the more reclusive, serious brother. They're both good friends, but they had different approaches to our friendship. I can tell they are waiting to see how I will react. I take my beer and smile to myself. I thank them for their honesty, and with a deep breath, I realize I have good friends who safeguarded my mental health from this news until I was ready to hear it. I can see why they did that. I ordered another round of beers for my friends, and we cheered ourselves on for making the right choices with a laugh. After we finish our last beer, I look at my phone, and I get a Facebook message from, can anybody guess? Kim, his ex. It reads, do you want to go out for lunch and catch up? Translation, holy shit, I gotta get me away from this loser who works part-time, who's overweight and plays video games all day. I'll do anything you want, because I'm such a catch. And also translation, I think I'm so amazing, and I still think you're the same old guy that was in love with me, that you'll take me back. Wrong. Before the notification disappears, I show it to Lee and James. They both look at it and they say, damn, what are you going to say? So SSM, what do you think I should do? I think she's suffering from the choices that she made. Good. I have a good life, and before anyone suggests I would never give up Luna for someone like Kim. Bro, there is nobody that is going to watch this video that's a regular on this channel that's ever going to suggest that you go back to your ex. So don't worry about that. However, I do believe in the old saying, an eye for an eye. So do I. Should I let her husband know what she's telling Rosie and how she's disrespecting their marriage by acting the way she does? God, I honestly feel bad for the dude. Like, I heard that aside from not making much money, he is genuinely a nice guy, so it kind of sucks for him to be married with a woman like her. Well, you know what? He made his choice. He's a grown-ass fucking man, and to be honest, I don't feel bad for him. And the reason I feel bad for him is because he works part-time. He's not trying to make something of himself. He's screwing around video games and stuff like that. And again, if he was working full-time, and he was on his grind, and taking care of himself, and he wanted to have a little video game here and there, and playing a band's cool, that'd be different. But I don't have any respect for this dumbass, so I don't feel bad for him. But I don't know what I'll do. Since last night, I've been contemplating blowing up at her for the nerve to message me, as I would want to see her again. And when I woke up this morning and saw my beautiful home and my girlfriend in it, it kind of reassured me that my life is better without this anger, and I should just block her anyway. I'm hoping to hear from you and maybe use some of your sage advice. Peace. So, bro, I read your story last night before I was going to bed, and it took me about 10 seconds to figure out my answer, and that is this. As much as it would be fun to tear a new one, and it would be warranted, nobody would blame you, something tells me this girl is a drama queen, and would love to stir up some drama and some bullshit. And believe me, she will. Because keep in mind, she's obviously unhappy. And unhappy people like to drag other people down in their misery. What I would do, honestly, is I would just delete the message and block her, and that's the end of it. Let her hang. Let her wonder. Because if you pretty much tell her all this F you and all that type of stuff, she could find some way, some reason to bring turmoil into your life. You don't need that. You're doing great. You're kicking ass, taking names. You got a girl you really like, treats you well as up to this point. I want you to have that. And as for telling her ex, flip a coin. I honestly don't feel bad for him, but sooner or later those two are going to break up anyway, And because remember, with her bringing drama into your life, she could just decide, well, you know what? He rejected me or he yelled at me. I'm going to go say he did this, this, and this to me 5 years ago and ruin his relationship, because if I'm miserable, he's going to be miserable. I would just delete and don't engage with her, because women want guys to engage with them so they can have drama. If it were me, delete, block, that's the end of it. Hope you never hear from her again. And immediately the second you do that, if it was me, I would go tell your girlfriend. I would not because like she's your freaking keeper or anything like that, just because I would tell her, I'd say, hey, listen, just want to let you know, remember my crazy ex? And she'll be like, yeah. And she knows darn well you're in love with her and brokenhearted by her. I would tell her that you ran into her today and how she behaved, and you got out of there quick. And then the story your buddies told you, and that she reached out to you on Facebook or social media, and you immediately deleted it and blocked her. Let her know, because if not, what could happen is your ex, being rejected by your silence, could decide to like stir up some shit and say something to your current girlfriend, like, well, I reached out to him, and your girlfriend might be thinking, you didn't tell me that she tried to reach out to you. You didn't tell me this, this, and this. What else are you hiding, right? And because she knew you were once in love with her, her mind could go all over the place and just more unnecessary drama. So if you got the girlfriend you like and you're having a good time with her and you want to keep her, and her behavior and treatment of you warrants you treating her very well too, I'm all for that as long as she's doing that, then I would let her know what happened. It's no big deal. Nothing happened, but just let her know, because it could come back to bite you in the ass if you don't mention what happened. And women tend to overreact, as you know, and you just don't need that shit. So that's what I would do. And I'll just go from there and just keep on doing great. But you handle this great, man. I know for a little bit you were down in the dumps. Who could blame you? I get it. But you crawled out and did what you did and turned things around, and you're doing great. And that's what I want all you guys to do. And again, it sounds like from your description, you got the good balance going on with your girlfriend. You're a relationship guy, no problem. And she sounds like she treats you really well, and she's traditional and conservative and all that. But just remember all the things you've learned the hard way and all the things you learned in this channel in terms of being the leader. Now, you're an Army officer, so obviously you know about being a leader, and take charge and treat her well and everything, but no flowers every day or all the time. No put her on the pedestal, not buying everything for her, buying her affection. So if you stick to the principles of what you learned the hard way and things you learn here, and keep putting yourself first, and you know what I mean? You're going to do great, both in your own personal life and your own, what you want to get out of this life, and with her if you continue on. But if you think about marrying her one day, remember everything I told you. Lots of years with her, really getting to know her, her family, her friends, how she is in tough life situations, the finances. Then there's, of course, prenups from both sides, separating your finances. You know the drill. If you've watched me a while, you know the drill. Just take care of yourself. And, of course, make sure you're both eye to eye on things with, like, children, where you want to live, your life goals, religion, all those things. And then maybe down the road, if so inclined, you want to get married, if that's who you are and you want to do that, and your religion, your culture, then maybe you do that. But years and years and years and years and years and years, there's no goddamn rush. And take it from there. And let me know down the road how things are going, and if your ex has a meltdown because you ignored her or something like that. But she got what she deserved. So, guys, you can see where's the lesson of the story. They always come back right then and there. Thinking they can do better because, like, my body is always going to be amazing, and I'm so amazing I can always get guys. Well, wrong. She thought she could get somebody way better than this guy, and look what she got, right? This part-time working, chubby-ass, video game playing dork, right? And she's unhappy. But then again, she'd probably be unhappy with a guy that made $500,000 a year and was in good shape. She'd find something to be miserable about too. And also a woman's perception. Her perception of you, bro, is that you're the same guy you were 5 years ago. You've improved in terms of your life, but she still thinks deep down you're the same guy. That would take her back. That's why she reached out to you. It's very hard to get women to change their perception of you, especially when you acted like a weak jackass earlier in life. So that's the lessons there. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.